Disclaimer. The video serves informational and entertainment purpose only. The content is considered speculative and should not be treated as confirmed fact. We encourage you to conduct your research and form your conclusion.
If James Gunn's Superman flops, DC is done, bro. It's game over. Think about it, bro. James Gunn, he purposely restarted the entire DCEU, which makes sense because it was all over the place. There was no organization. There was no plan. But think about it. James Gunn, he has a lot of pressure on his hands, bro. This man recasted an entire universe, and this is the beginning of a new one, right? If this movie flops, James Gunn, DC, you're done. It's game over. There's no coming back. I'm sorry. You're done.
Let's not pretend. James Gunn's Superman reboot was supposed to be the moment, a fresh start, a cinematic resurrection, the hero of all heroes finally getting the respect and the box office he deserves. Instead, we're watching Superman stumble straight out of the gate. With a jaw-dropping production and marketing budget that creeps toward $500 million, the film limped into theaters with a global opening of just $217 million. That's not heroic. That's terrifying. For context, Warner Brothers knew this was a gamble. They didn't just promote this film, they flooded the airwaves. Posters, trailers, interviews, TikTok, YouTube ads, billboards in Times Square. All of it, everywhere. But days before the numbers hit, the tone shifted. Quiet whispers from the studio started surfacing. We'd be happy with $500 million. Excuse me? That's not ambition. That's damage control before the damage even begins. And here's the brutal truth. You don't settle when it's Superman. He's the face of superhero mythology, the symbol of truth, justice, and billion-dollar franchises. This wasn't a quirky experiment or a mid-tier comic book character rollout. This was Superman, and Warner Brothers already looked scared before day one. From what we've seen so far, they were right to be scared.
The problem with the trunks is that they look kind of silly. So you can try to make them not silly. James was, I think, very pro-trunks, but was struggling to find a way to not make them look silly. My contribution, I think, was to say, what if the point is that they look a little silly? He doesn't want to look cool. He wants to be Clark Kent. He wants to be the normal bumbling guy just barely fitting in at work. There's a piece of that with Superman as well. And the trunks are just a way of saying, I'm not too cool. I don't take myself too seriously. Come say hi. Come laugh at me. Who cares? I can take it.
Let's get brutally honest. The numbers don't lie, but Hollywood sure loves trying to hide them. On paper, the budget for James Gunn's Superman is listed at a clean $225 million. Sounds hefty, right? Except that's a fantasy. When you factor in reshoots, post-production effects, international distribution, and a marketing campaign that practically screamed, "Please love us," the real number is closer to $425 to $500 million. And that's where things start unraveling. A $217 million global opening? That's not a victory lap. That's a warning siren. Because after theaters take their cut, nearly half the box office, Warner Brothers is left gasping for profitability. And what's worse, this wasn't just any film. This was the foundation stone for an entire cinematic universe. The first chapter, the one that was supposed to prove James Gunn was the right man to reshape DC's legacy. Instead, they're already lowering the bar, scrambling to redefine what success even means. Best Superman opening ever, they say. False. Better than Man of Steel, they whisper. Also false. 2013's Man of Steel opened higher domestically, with fewer markets, less inflation, and a smaller marketing push. And international numbers? Gunn's Superman flatlined compared to the same global debut window. It's not just bad, it's catastrophic. Because when your flagship hero barely beats Shazam 2 internationally, you don't have a cinematic universe. You have a sinking ship. Here's the irony no one's ready to admit. James Gunn is now competing with himself, and he's losing. Because when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 opened, it didn't just do well. It blew expectations out of the water. That film had heart, momentum, and most importantly, goodwill. Audiences wanted to show up. They trusted the director. Gunn had built up that trust over a decade at Marvel, delivering weird, wild, emotionally resonant superhero stories that didn't talk down to fans. Now, fast forward to Superman. Same director, bigger budget, bigger character, and yet, smaller returns. Why? Because this time, James Gunn didn't have built-in love. This time, he had pressure, expectations, corporate mandates, the responsibility to fix DC. And in trying to do all of that at once, he may have lost the magic that made him great in the first place. Let's be honest, Superman is supposed to be a cultural moment. This isn't Peacemaker or Rocket Raccoon. This is the most iconic superhero in history. But the reception? Lukewarm. Critics calling it fine. Fans calling it forgettable. And the worst label of all? Mid. That's devastating. Because Gunn was supposed to bring the spark. Instead, he may have lit the fuse on another cinematic implosion. And now, Warner Brothers is looking at the numbers, looking at their visionary director, and asking the one question they never thought they'd have to ask. Did we back the wrong guy? You can feel it, can't you? That PR sweat dripping from Warner Brothers press statements, the strong domestic legs, the bold new vision, the audience's love it tweets from verified accounts that feel robotic, polished, hollow. Because behind the curtain, here's what's really happening. The marketing machine is in crisis mode. They're pulling the same tired tricks we've seen with every failed franchise launch for the last decade. Influencer praise, suspicious Rotten Tomatoes audience scores that jump 20% overnight, TikToks of people crying in theaters claiming, "This is the Superman we needed," and still, the needle isn't moving. Why? Because fans aren't stupid. Not anymore. They remember the Flash flopping. They remember Black Adam's fake hype. They remember the endless reboots, reshoots, delays, and promises that this time it's different. Now, even Superman, the last pure symbol of superhero cinema, feels like a product. And that's the tragedy. He deserved to inspire. Instead, he's being used to manipulate. And here's the kicker. Warner Brothers knew this might happen. That's why they started goalpost shifting before the film even opened. Suddenly, breaking even at $500 million is a win. Suddenly, the film's artistic merit matters more than box office. Suddenly, it's all about patience. But Hollywood doesn't run on patience. It runs on profit. And no matter how much spin you coat it in, spin can't save a sinking ship. There was a time, not long ago, when a new Superman movie would have shut down cities. Midnight lines, sold-out shows, a cultural event. But now, the theaters are half full, the tweets are lukewarm, and the conversation is quieter than it should be for the world's most iconic superhero. Why? Because we're tired. Not of superheroes, not entirely, but of what they've become. The oversaturation, the copy-paste storytelling, the endless multiverse loops, the recycled plots, the soulless visual effects. And now, even Superman, the symbol of hope itself, feels like a checkbox in a corporate spreadsheet. This isn't about one bad movie. This is about a genre that's lost its magic. For over a decade, we were fed a diet of cape and cowl, and now our cinematic stomachs are turning. The excitement is gone. The sense of wonder replaced by obligation. Oh, another reboot? Cool, I guess. Audiences showed up to Endgame because it felt final. They showed up for the Batman because it felt fresh. But this? A Superman reboot in 2025 that looks, sounds, and plays just like everything else? It's not inspiring. It's exhausting. And this box office crash isn't just a fluke. It's a signal, a warning, that maybe, just maybe, superhero cinema is no longer bulletproof. So the question isn't whether Superman failed. The question is, did he ever really have a chance? Let's not forget what this film was supposed to be. This wasn't just another caped crusader cash grab. This was the relaunch, the origin point of the Gunverse, a bold, visionary reboot meant to cleanse DC of its messy past and deliver a new golden age. James Gunn, fresh off his Guardian's glory, was hailed as the savior, the man who could fuse quirky charm with mythic scale, the guy who got it. Warner Brothers bet everything on that promise. They gave him the keys to Superman, the most sacred property in their vault. And in return, Gunn gave them a film that critics are calling fine, watchable, tonally confused, not great, not iconic, just there. And now, with the numbers in, those early smiles are cracking. Executives are quietly panicking. Scripts for Supergirl, The Authority, and Booster Gold are already in motion. Budgets have been approved, casting decisions made, contracts signed. But if Superman, the face, the crown jewel, can't carry the weight, then what happens to the rest? Worse yet, They know this wasn't supposed to happen. Internally, sources say WB expected a $700 million plus global haul. That was the target. That was the pitch to investors. But now, with $500 million looking like a miracle, they're rewording success as good effort. Gunn's creative gamble wasn't just a swing at greatness. It was a bet that audiences were ready to believe again. But right now, it's looking like they're not. You know what's truly wild? Warner Brothers still thinks they can spin this. Seriously, PR teams are already out there pumping fluff pieces into Variety, Collider, you name it. Strong audience scores, they shout. A bold new era begins. This Superman has legs. They're shoving the same recycled buzzwords down everyone's throat like it's still 2016. But here's the thing, we're not buying it anymore. Because no amount of puffed up hashtags or influencer TikToks can change the simple truth. This movie didn't hit the way it needed to. It didn't move people. It didn't excite audiences. It didn't define a generation the way it promised. It dropped. It fizzled. It underwhelmed. And now the only thing louder than the box office silence is the sound of desperate damage control echoing from studio walls. You can feel the disconnect growing. Fans see through the charade. They're tired of being told that good enough is great, that mid is masterpiece, that this limp, lukewarm version of Superman is somehow a win. It's not. And pretending otherwise? That's not marketing. That's gaslighting. The real problem isn't just the numbers, it's the message. Warner Brothers promised a rebirth, a bold new foundation. But if this is their idea of a reset, how long before the whole structure starts to buckle? Because right now, Superman isn't flying. He's floating, aimless, directionless. And the audience? They're already looking for the exit. This was never just about one movie. Not really. This was about legacy, about the future, about rebuilding something that millions of fans wanted to believe in. Superman was supposed to be the foundation, the rock on which a new DC universe would rise. But what happens when the foundation cracks before the building even starts? Warner Brothers isn't just facing a flop, they're staring down an existential crisis. Because if Superman, the literal symbol of hope, can't deliver a global smash hit on opening weekend, then what hope is there for lesser-known titles like Booster Gold or The Authority? You think the general audience is going to turn out in droves for characters they've never heard of when they couldn't even rally behind Clark Kent? Let's be brutally honest. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just a soft launch gone wrong. It's a warning shot, a sign that the audience is done with empty promises and corporate resets. They've been burned too many times, and this time, they're walking away. So what now? More puff pieces? More TikToks with moody monologues? Another reboot in 5 years? Or maybe, just maybe, it's time for the studios to finally listen, to stop forcing vision through spreadsheets, to give Superman and the fans the story they deserve. Because right now, what we're watching isn't a comeback, it's a collapse. And in the ashes of this cinematic misfire, one question burns brighter than any cape in the sky. Will the DC universe rise again? Or did it just die with its greatest hero? Let me know in the comments. Are you still holding on to hope? Or are you done playing audience to the fall of another franchise?